Happy Monday, everybody. We are back for day 2. We started yesterday on aligning this body and we did the root chakra. Today we are back for day 2 and we are going to focus on the sacral. And I was reading and studying this morning, and this is the scripture that popped up. When I went to my Bible app, I did more than that, but I went to my Bible app and this is what popped up. James 1:17. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And I thought that was fitting for today, for this whole entire practice, because like I said yesterday, we fall into this place where we want what we want, when we want it, how we want it. And a lot of the trauma, not all, like I said yesterday, not all, but a lot of the trauma that we face is because we can't have what we want, when we want it, how we want it. And in the learning process is good things. It is fruit. I've been hearing this all week. I think I heard Steve Harvey speak earlier this week, and he said the same thing. We don't want to sit in the lesson period. We just want to dive to the growth and the opportunity, but lessons shape us and they mold us, and we have to learn how to find the good even in the lesson. And it ties together. I just read another book this morning, and the story told about a lady that went to Africa after graduating. She was on mission and on assignment, and she wanted to feel the greatest there. And she was partnered with somebody else in her room that was thriving, and she was living her best life there, and she was getting along, and she understood the language, and she was conquering every task like it was effortless. And this young lady was just having a hard time, and she felt that tinge of jealousy coming up. But when she took a step back and she got to learn her roommate, she understood that her roommate had a tumultuous upbringing, and she had all the hardship in the first half of her life, whereas this girl had a wonderful foundation for a home, and she never had to really face any challenges. So the tables were flipped. This was her opportunity to live on her own and get experience that she hadn't had at home. Whereas the other girl, this was her freedom, because she had already went through the hard lessons of experiencing the hardship in the house. So everything that we go through, it is just a matter of changing our perspective. And we sit down in this practice to sit down and regroup and understand that we are changing our perspective to see the good and to see the light, right? And so today, as we focus on the chakra, hopefully I can change somebody's perspective just a little bit, because yes, I know some people call it portals, some people call it demonic, and oh my God, we're about to talk about sex in the Christian community. Oh my God. But yes, when we get to the sacral chakra, it is right below your belly, a little bit above the tailbone, but it's kind of really tied to the root. It's almost the same area. Excuse me. It's almost the same area. When you draw this energy up, think about your pelvic floor. Men, you have a pelvic floor too. So it is not clenching your butt cheeks really tight. It is literally drawing up from the inside. You can practice doing that right now with me, actually. Just imagine like a string is in the center of your body at the bottom. And as you breathe, you're gonna crunch and activate those ab muscles from the lower abdomen, not from the upper abdomen, and draw up. Draw it again. Inhale, 2 and 3. Tell me in the comments if you felt it, but it feels like you're drawing up, like you're doing a Kegel exercise and you're drawing up, and where you feel that energy kind of stop, because eventually it's going to rise all the way up, but there's only so much you can draw until it gets stronger. When your pelvic floor gets stronger, when your abdomen gets stronger, you're going to be able to draw up a little more, but you want to kind of hone in on that spot where you feel like you can't clench any tighter, you can't draw up anymore. That is the sacral. And this is your sexual energy. This is sex. It is confidence. It is still security. When we are lacking in this area, we feel sexually bound. We feel like we can't express ourselves. We feel like we can't show our bodies. We feel like everything has to be, and I'm not talking about covered in purity. I'm talking about covered in shame, right? We have experienced some things, and this is where, I will say real trauma may come in. When we talk about that chakra system, if you have not heard me mention this before, because I don't think I said it yesterday, it kind of goes in ages. So the root is things that would have affected you from 0 to 7 or 0 to 10. Some people go up to 10. The sacral is from 7 or 10 up to like 14, that type of area. Things that have happened sexually to you can hinder this. But it is also creativity. We are art. We are likened and made and created in God's image, and we are supposed to flow naturally. We are supposed to think of, I don't know why Pocahontas comes to mind, but think of Pocahontas and like the Indian life. We are supposed to literally just flow with nature, flow with water. We are supposed to just have life coursing through us. That is a balancing act, and we're participating in the balancing act. But when the sacral is shut down, we don't feel the security like in the root, but it's a different type of security. It is a sexual security. It is a free to be ourselves type of security. Remember, I told you the root, the sacral, the solar plexus kind of all tied together. So some of this may sound repetitive, but the sacral is sexual energy. But let me add this a step further, because as we said, creative energy. And so what happens a lot of times, like right now in my walk, I am not having sex. Now, I've told y'all before, I am not the person to preach to you about whether or not you should wait to marriage. I am not going to tell anybody that I feel like right now and I'm waiting for marriage. But I do understand that my body is a temple. I do understand how divinely it is created. I do understand that when somebody else enters me, they are entering my temple, and their temple is connecting with my temple. And that is so profound that, hell, you might as well wait till marriage, because that's a needle in a haystack. But in learning these lessons, like we just talked about, count it all joy. The trials are there to make you stronger. And I've had some hiccups along the way, but my sexual inactivity has been a very long and lengthy waiting period. And people don't like to hear this, but we all have tendencies. And while we don't want to talk about our zodiac sign and we want to call that demonic, I believe personally that a lot of our core tendencies do come from our zodiac sign. Yes, they come from our upbringing. Yes, they come from all the different things, but our zodiac does play a sign in that too. So I'm not looking at it to judge a person, but we all have different gifts. And I do believe that our zodiac can hone in some of our different gifts that we offer. As a Scorpio, we are known to be very sexual creatures. Can that be used for good or bad? Yes, we've talked about this, but I am a Scorpio. So sexual desire is big for me. And I hear people say all the time, God will help you suppress it. God will help you suppress it. I don't believe that it's meant to be suppressed. And that is where the creativity comes into play. And that is where along this journey, I might have been stuck in that path for a long time in order to get me to growing in the right direction, because it has been frustrating. I'm not going to tell you that part of this walk for me is easy at all. I feel frustrated about not being able to have sex on a regular basis. But in all things, patience and endurance gets you what you want. And what I should have been doing is pouring all of that sexual energy that I could not release in that way into creativity. And so that is what you are doing in this practice. Even if it's not sexual frustration, you are taking that core part of yourself and pouring it into different outlets. As women, we are supposed to birth and create, but men, you are not off the hook. Just because you don't birth the child doesn't mean that you don't contribute to the child being produced, which is still a part of your creativity. Remember, we carry things out through our DNA. So the more you can settle and regulate your DNA now, the better it makes it for your child to come and for what is coming down the line. And so when we do this practice, we want to focus and meditate on, I am creative, I am divinely made, I am art. Creativity and life flow within me and from me. So the next chapter, the next verse that I want to give you, if you even want to use that, is John 7:38, I believe. 7:30. Whoever believes in me, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. And that is your creativity flowing out. And so even in this situation where I don't have a job, we are resilient people, we are resourceful, and this is where you can start to use some of that pent up energy to have it pour out into something that is creative, something that is sensual. It doesn't have to be sexual to be sensual, to be caring, to be loving, to be nurturing is a mother's instinct. It should be a man's instinct as well, to be caring, to be loving, to be nurturing. Adam was sent to protect Eve. And so even in that, learning as a man how to regulate your caring side, your feminine energy. We all have both, right? Women have masculine energy, and depending on how we regulate this body or deregulate it, you could have more than you need to. My estrogen is always low. When I go to my foot reflexology doctor, my estrogen is typically always low. And so I have to hone in on that. So as we practice today, remember, we are drawing this energy upwards so that by the time we get to this crown, the only thing flowing from us is love, joy, peace, and patience, guidance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and faithfulness, and self-control. Like, those are the things that are overflowing by the time we have ended this practice, at least hopefully and prayerfully. Today, you're going to sit in the same position as you did yesterday, cross-legged. You're going to draw that energy up. And I want you to remember that when you breathe, there are ways that you can breathe, and we'll get into some breathing techniques later down the line. But this time, I want you to feel like that energy is radiating. If you have heard of anybody that works out a lot and they get to abs and they can feel the engagement in their transverse abdominis, that is like electricity coursing through your nervous system and through your muscles in order for you to be strengthened. That type of electricity is possible. Think about somebody that could, again, I know y'all, but there are some people that could simply right here just point the finger and the cup will fly off the table. Call it what you may. There is energy in your body, and it is that powerful. So we're using it to clear out the old, bring in the new, and restore us so that our mind and our soul and our body is revitalized. That is the type of breath that I want you to imagine. So when you sit today, kind of think as you breathe, think about a computer system, and think about how when you see it on the TV screen, you can see like all these wires, and you can see a blue or green lead light kind of shooting through the screen and dispersing through all the wires. That's how you want your breath to feel today. As you breathe it in, you want to kind of lighten out everything. Yes, you're feeling your body. Yes, you're feeling your belly. Yes, you're feeling it with life and air, but you kind of want to imagine that it's a little dose of electricity shooting through your body to push out all the bad, push out all the toxins, push out all the negative energy that's settling there. And then you want it to rise up. And today, remember, you can come up with your own affirmations, but I am creative. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I flow like water. What is for me comes to me. What is for the world flows from me. Anything like that will help you to understand that this is, and if you're married or if you are having sex, I don't want to drive you down that hole, but if you do need the sexual energy, I am sexual. I mean, we are created to be together, to have a partner, to love and to nourish and to settle. And so even in your marriages, if you're frustrated sexually, if you feel like that is not an area of substance right now, I am sexual. I am divine. I am goddess energy. You are goddess energy. God is within you. His spirit is within you. If you're feminine, I am God energy, right? I think women are supposed to call their husbands Lord. So even as a man, I am God energy. And that is okay in the sexual content, right? Because it is given to us for that reason. So you know where you are. You pick your affirmations. You speak over yourself and over your body how you see fit. But we're going to dive into the practice, and I hope that this helped you with the sacral chakra. Join me back in a little while. I'm not going outside today. Promise. It is too humid and too many bugs. And as in tuned as I am with nature, when them bugs start flying all over the place, I'm out. So we'll be on the floor on the other side, but get a blanket possibly today, wrap yourself up, feel cozy and warm, and we are going to tap into letting that creativity and that creative energy flow from us. And again, I'm transparent with y'all. I need this as much as you need this right now. This is my creative energy that I'm pouring out to the world, and I need it settled just as much as some of you probably do. So grab your blankets. If you need a pillow or anything sturdy or firm to sit on the floor to support you, then get that and meet me back for our activity practice.